So I told a guy I would send him a video of this truck for sale, and I'll probably put it up on YouTube for the rest of you. But everybody always asks, why are you getting rid of the truck? I'm pulling a 3-axle step deck, hauling bigger and bigger loads. My business is building into that, and so I needed a slightly bigger truck, and this has been a good one. It'll handle the regular loads, 80,000 pound loads, but I just didn't want to stretch it with some of the stuff I'm getting into. First of all, I'm going to show you the bad. The bad is I live in Ohio, and they use some really nasty stuff on the road, and I don't think Kenworth does much of a job of putting paint on their frames, and this one doesn't have a lot left. Now, I don't determine from my opinion that it's anything where you've got pitting, deep pitting, or any danger of this thing rusting through, anything like that, but it is nasty and it needs a blasting and painting, and that's the worst thing I can say about the truck. So we'll start off with that. It is a 2007 T600. We'll get you a look at the pretty stuff here in a second, but 2007 T600 450 Cummins ISX 10-speed ultra shift. We'll talk about that in a little bit. My maintenance always includes what I consider to be the best parts. About 2-year-old Monroe gas magnum shocks there, you can see. Just an example, not that they're brand new, but you get an idea. Bridgestone 726 EL, and you may have to take my word for it, 11R22.5 on Alcoa forged wheels. They could sure use a rubbing up, but those are about 26-30 seconds deep, and that's where I'm asking you to trust me. I got some sort of cheapy fenders, coated them with these red stripes of vinyl, but they're on really nice mounts. They're I wish I could tell you, Fleet Engineers, something like that mounts. They're rubber mount, real slick. You can get them off for maintenance with just an Allen wrench. Kind of nice, but they've had their beating. I've drug a trailer on top of them. Some of them have some cracks, but they're there. They're functional. They're solid. They're just not show quality. This cabinet you see, pretend you don't see, because that is mine, and it's going to my new truck, as well as that toolbox. But here's another, what I would say one of the negatives. The paint is chalky from the cab back. It's the red paint syndrome, and it's had obviously some repairs in its life, but the paint is chalky from the cowl back, except for these, which I had painted with Emron because they were black, and I had these fairings painted just because I like the look. But that paint definitely needs a coat of something, maybe a polish, coat of wax. But what you see is what you get there. This is an ISX 450 07 EGR motor originally, but it's got the 2001 exhaust manifold without the EGR valve, as you can see, with the fixed turbo. That one's $1,400 to replace versus the $5,000 to replace the variable geometry turbo. It runs great, gets good fuel economy, 7 miles a gallon. I can confirm that with my after reports. But that's all done 300,000 ago. What you don't see there is an EGR cooler. That is not there. I'm going to continue to walk around. I hit a deer with a plastic bumper, and it was as cheap to replace it with this metal bumper, and less downtime for painting. So it's got a steel chrome Valley bumper. That hood is a Jones Performance hood. I got that backed over in a truck stop. That is shiny, very shiny paint, real nice. Bridgestone, what number are these? 267A. Steer tires, also very high quality, deep rubber. Tires won't be a concern for a while. As I put a radiator in it about 3 years ago, which with the Ohio road treatment stuff might as well be about half its life. there's the oil. I don't know whether you can see it, but as a result of the EGR delete, it stays much cleaner, more like gas oil. It'll be brown when you change it, but not look like black paint. It was down about a quart. That's in 6,500 miles. You will not end up adding, if you wait till the gallon mark to add, you will not add between 15,000 mile oil changes. It will not use a gallon of oil in 15,000. Like I say, Jones Performance hood. You can see that green sticker there. It may not mean a lot, but trust me, it's a Jones Performance fiberglass hood. Much better than the 3-piece hood that Kenworth puts on these things from the factory. You're not getting that hut sticker, I can tell you that. I'm gonna have that off. That just zip ties on there. Oh, it's got kind of a cool stainless steel insert in the visor with extra lights, LED. I replaced the mirror backs with the chrome ones. Nice little bling there. So pretty much that's the outside. What you see is what you get. This isn't a high dollar truck, so don't expect a lot. Let me mention this. This was new 300,000 miles ago when I got it. Jost fixed fifth wheel, not sliding. It's installed just about center of the tandem, and it's got the slipper pads in it. The poly pads, they've been replaced once in its lifetime, but it's got the poly pads. You rarely have to grease it. Jost calls for a little bit of gear oil. That's the lubricant for that. Let's go inside. Now this is pretty much a base model truck. I've done some little things, and I'm gonna apologize we haven't got to spring here in Ohio, and I haven't done my cleaning, but power right hand mirror, or power right hand window, that's what you got there. Manual on the driver's side. There's your little control. 4-way power mirrors both sides with heat. It's all right there. Got the road relay. You know, there's some useful information you can get there, fault codes and stuff, although since the delete have not had check engine lights or anything. Just the basic gauges. A lot of that information that isn't on the gauges is available on the road relay, but you have obviously speed limit or speedometer, odometer. I'm going to try to give you a look at this. 806,000 miles, 16,283 hours. It's 22 degrees here in Ohio. You know, you got your water temperature, oil, volts. Over here, fuel, which reads 1 tank. Application brake pressure, and 2 air gauges. What we have here is an ultra shift. That's a 2-pedal job. It's an automatic clutch. It is gear drive, automatic clutch, automatic shifting, automated. But unlike the fluid drive automatics, you do not lose power or efficiency with this. And frankly, I wasn't a big fan of it when I bought it, but I've grown to kind of be fond of it. Slow speed maneuvering in reverse is probably its biggest shortfall. I've done, so you can tell I've done a little custom stuff. That's just $5 worth of vinyl off of eBay that I made it look like an old school Trans Am. I grew up in the 70s, so that might explain that. Little Viper red paint there on some of the bezels, just kind of looks cool. SCI red steering wheel. This thing doesn't stay. That's a holder from my tablet, which functions as my ELD. That's coming off the dash. There's a pike pass up there on the glass for Oklahoma. That's getting off. There's my oil change reminder, 799,000 miles. And right above it is a tiny little chip there. Probably can be repaired, but this window is 5 years old, so it's a little bit sandblasted. Probably wouldn't kill anybody to spend $100 and get a new windshield just for the sake of having nice smooth glass. Got the toolbox seat. If you're familiar with Kenworth, it's a nice place to stuff a few things there, some gloves, coveralls, whatever. Inside that toolbox is the fixture that is the tow hook. That'll get you out of some trouble when you got it, but kind of the basic interior. I think Kenworth calls it Splendor. Nothing fancy, but it'll take care of you. There's the floor. The floor is just a rubber mat. Nothing you're gonna do too much damage to. This is a working man's truck. I'm gonna show you here. This is how it shifts. You got the pull it and drive here, and then you are in two. Start you in two. If you have to pull out from somewhere that's a little tougher, off-road or something, you pull her back in low, and she shifts to one. You can put it in manual as well, and you can select gears that you want. You can control the shifting. Rarely use anything but drive and reverse, but that's the way Ultra Shift works. It's gear drive, not to be confused with like an Allison. There's an ABS light. I've got right front drive axle sensor, and when it gets salty out, that comes on, and when it gets dry out, it goes off. So I can probably get that addressed before it sells. I'm gonna shut this noisy thing off. Yeah, toolbox seat with tow hitch. This is a prime seating. I think it's their 300 seat. I kind of like it. I may switch it out with the new truck depending on what kind of deal we get as we sell it. I may swap out a Kenworth seat for this seat because I like it so much. The interior, nothing really to see here. A little dust. Again, we haven't got the spring cleaning. Just the regular 62-inch aero cab flat. Splendor interior. Nothing. You're not going to win any shows with this one. But there's all the operator's manual, the manual for the AM, FM, and also XM radio. It's not active now, but it's in there. It's all good to go. It has the transponder and the antenna and everything. You could just make a phone call and be listening to XM tomorrow already. More manuals for road relay, so forth, that kind of thing. The floor back here is also rubber floor mat, and I just pulled my old carpeting out of there, just a throw rug. Just to finish up, the air conditioning was unhooked to the sleeper. This thing at one time was owned by Buske, B-U-S-K-E. I bought it from Valley Freightliner out in Washington State. Buske went out of business because of some fraud, and you can Google that and get the story. But I bought it with like 514. It is currently 806. Put about 300,000 relatively trouble-free miles on it. But the air conditioning is more or less just cab air conditioning, because when Buske had it, they had a APU on it, and I think they connected to the bunk. I also had a water leak under the sleeper, so I just turned those off. It's a small sleeper, so I can do everything I need to do via the cab heat and air. Just leave the curtains open. I rarely sleep in it, so it's not an issue for me, but I just will tell you that everything's all nice and dry under the hood, but under the sleeper it would leak some water if you don't shut those shut-offs off. And that's about everything I can tell you. You're welcome to call me. We can talk about it further. 330-350-1821. Have a good day. God bless.